So for today, so we have to solve the plate with hole problem. So our problem statement is this. So we have a plate and we have a hole also, that is 50 mm diameter, I mean radius. So this is radius, and the sides of this plate is 1000 mm into 1000 mm, and the force which is actually applied over here is 10,000 Newton. And what is the thickness? The thickness is 10 mm. And which material we have used? Structural steel. Okay, structural steel we have used, or else you can give the Young's modulus values directly. 2.5 into 10 to the power 5 Newton per mm square. Okay, so this is our configuration. So if anybody want this, just make it as a notes or else take it as a screenshot. It's up to you. I'll go to the software and make a new project, static structural. Double click on design modular. Okay, so select any planes. So first you need to change the unit system to meters to millimeters and select the plane. Right click and say look at sketching rectangle from here to here, and the dimension should be from here to here, it's 1000, and also this side is also 1000. Okay, so make it as a fit to the screen, and I need to give a constraint, that is symmetrical constraint. So this is my symmetrical axis, this is my two line segments. So now it is symmetrical to each other, and also I need to so this time this is my symmetrical axis, so this is my first line segment and this is my second line. Now we will notice that my sketch is converted into a dark blue color. That means it is a fully defined sketch. All the necessary dimensions is assigned to it, and we need to create a hole in the center. Sketching, circle. Okay, so what is that radius or diameter, whatever it is? Its radius is 50 mm, that means diameter is 100. Okay, so far we have created our sketch itself, but we need to convert the sketch into a surface, not a line body or a 3D geometry. We don't perform any extrude operations or like that. So we can directly have a tool to create a surface. Go to concept. So there is an option called surface from the sketches. Select that and select the sketch 1, 2, 3 and 4, and this also. Click on apply. So the operation you need to perform here is add material, and we will see that another options like what are the entities are available over here in our upcoming sessions. And you need to give the thickness over here, like right now it is in 0. So if you don't give the thickness here, that is not an issue. You can assign the thickness in the mechanical itself, or else if you want to give the value here itself, you can give, but I don't want to give here. Just click on generate. Okay, now we have a one part and one body. So when I press the plus icon, you will notice that is a surface body. So we have created our surface geometry. Still now I don't assign any thickness, so that is why it shows that thickness is 0. So I can assign the thickness in the mechanical itself. So either you can close the design modular or else you can minimize it, and double click on model. Mechanical will be started over. Okay, so now my geometry is imported, but it has some question mark like this. So I just erase the entire thing. One sec. See, you will notice that there is a question mark over here. So why? Because we don't assign the thickness at all. So click on it. See, there is a yellow indication. My thickness is 10 mm. Make sure structural steel is assigned or not. Okay, it is assigned. And check the properties. All the values are in positive. And select the mesh. Right click. Generate mesh. Good. So it's created a mesh, but whether this mesh is good or not, it's up to it's not a matter over here. So we will discuss about this. Okay, this mesh is good or bad. Definitely it's not a good mesh. Right click, insert, fixed support. So this end I want to fix it, and I want to apply a force on this end. So force this edge and say apply, and a magnitude of 10,000 Newton, and we need to assign the direction, that is this, not this direction, and click on apply. Okay, fine. So now we assign the fixed support as well as a force. What I will do here is I need a total deformation as well as stress values, that is equivalent 1 mass. So I have a question over here. So what is that equivalent 1 mass stress? What is 1 mass stress? Can anyone? What is the difference between normal stress and 1 mass stress? So far in the 1D problems we have seen the tool called beam tool. That is only for 1D analysis. When we shift over to 2D or 3D, we only looking for equivalent 1 mass stress. What is that equivalent 1 mass stress? It's a deep silence. Raj, Balaji, Manoj, Sairam. Any guesses? So these kinds of stuffs are you have already learned in your engineering, right? It's up to your responsibility. It's very basics for Ansys softwares, like what is principal stress, what is maximum principal stress, what is one Moises, these kinds of stuffs. Okay, so today's task is when we end the classes, so go to Google and search for these terms. What is von Mises and what is radial stress, what is hoop stress, and principal stresses. So just search for that. Okay, so in our tomorrow session I will ask for that. So if you don't know the what is von Mises, it's literally ways to calculate that stress. So that is why I am asking. Okay, so you will get a result that is equal to 2.6795. But if I calculate a manual method in analytical method for that stress concentration region, you will get, so you know that this is the region of stress concentration, so you will get a maximum stress on this point. If I calculate that, so I already know that formula, that is stress concentration factor. Stress concentration factor is equal to maximum stress divided by nominal stress. Okay, so when I do an analytical method, I know that nominal stress is the average stress, that is stress is equal to force upon area P by A. Here what is the value of P? I think 10,000 Newton. It's divided by area. So 1000 into 10. So maybe volume. So if you substitute that value, you will get a value of 1 Newton per mm square, maybe. So this is our nominal stress, but we don't actually know about the maximum stress. So this is the value we need to calculate over here. So maximum stress, this is my unknown variable. So I know the stress concentration factor for an infinite plate. It's a constant value. It's a constant value. That is 3. For an infinite plate, the stress concentration factor is 3. So you know this value and this value. You can easily calculate the maximum stress. That is 3 Newton per.
For calculating maximum stress, we need to take area near to that plate.
Yeah. Yes, we need to calculate the area. Whole plate.
And von Mises stress is kind of sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3 will be there.
Yeah.
It kind of resultants.
Yeah, it's a kind of resultant stress. Yes. So all we need is when you apply any load to a certain component. So we have a block like this. Any load. So it's not be in a single direction. So you may apply one force on this direction and this direction and in this direction. There will be a stress, and you get a stress value on each and every direction, like stress at x direction, stress at y and z, sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3 in each and every direction, both in positive and negative directions. So all we need is what is the resultant force. So there is a resultant force, overall stress, that is called von Mises stress, but it is not an actually proper definition. You have a proper definition, so I just only tell you that basic overview of what is von Mises. It's a overall stress, or else you can say it as a resultant stress values. Okay, here itself my von Mises stress or overall stress, that maximum stress is 3 Newton per mm square, so which is actually calculated from a analytical method. Okay, it's from analytical method. Likewise, I know that it's 3 Newton per mm square. So have you cleared about this point? So this is from analytical method. Okay, so what we actually get in the software is 2.679 MPa or Newton per mm square, whatever it is. It's in megapascal. You can convert it into a Newton per mm square. So this stress value, so we get a error of 0.4. So that is not an issue. It's very close to our results. What happen if I increase or decrease the mesh qualities? So I want to perform certain analysis. It's basically for mesh practicing. So first I will open the Google Classroom. Okay, one sec. So here you will get an assignment which is 2D plate with hole. So first we will cover this. When you open the Excel sheet, you will have a varieties of options like quadrilateral dominant and triangles and multi-zones. So these are all nothing but it's a type of mesh. So all you need to do here is you need to assign this type. Like first you need to select the quadrilateral dominant. Right now it is in quadrilateral dominant. That is why it's creating a quad element. So you can notice that all the elements which was created over here is a quad element. quad. Some triangulars are created also, but that is not an issue. The maximum elements created over here is a quad element. Okay, and also you need to give all the values which is actually take places in this sheet. So quadrilateral dominant, linear, already you know about that, what is linear and what is quadratic. A quadratic means it's a second order element, it's a first order element, and the mesh type, it should be a free face mesh type. Either you can select quad or tria, and the element size should be 100, 50 and 10, and you need to make that how many elements and nodes it should be actually created, and what is the maximum on resistors. You can compare the value literally, how close we get that depend upon the mesh quality and the mesh parameters also. Okay, so first I will go to the mesh parameters. Just select the mesh. You will notice that lot of options over here. You can change the mesh size from here itself. Like if you want to reduce the mesh size like 50 mm, you may notice that there is a circle over the cursor, so which indicates the size of the elements. So if I increase the size to 100, the circle get bigger. So if I say it should be 500, now it is too bigger. So that means one element is actually a size of like this, maybe from here to here, one element may be that. So if I say 100, my element size should be exactly similar to this size. So and right click, say generate. Okay, now it is more formal, and if you furtherly reduce that to a 10 mm and say generate, so it will take some time because my meshing size is very small. Okay, it's created a very fine mesh. So when I look over the results, equivalent one measure, see how close to my analytical results. So 2.9849, it's very close to my analytical result, that is 3 Newton per mm square. So you can clearly notice that it's totally depend upon my meshing parameters or meshing quality, but it's not a right way to do that analysis, because for a simple plate you can't create a mesh like this. So the nodes and the elements counters are big matters over here. So you need to create an optimum mesh. What does that optimum mesh means? This is called optimum mesh. So when I draw a curve like this, so there is a myth. So if you reduce the element size, you will get a good mesh as well as a good results. That is not an true. So the curves look like this. So it will be initially like that, and after that it will goes like that. Okay, so I can say that it is the accuracy. So accuracy in percentage, maybe this is the point 100%. So I will draw a line segment over here, not like that. Okay, and this is the number of or size of the elements. Okay, so what do you observe from this diagram? What do you actually observe from this diagram? Size of this element. Can anyone? What do you get from this graph?
Up to certain point, by increasing size of element, accuracy is increasing.
Okay, so
After that, it is
it will works only for a certain values. For a, it's up to you. Furtherly, you can increase the element size. It doesn't matter. It never tends to 100%. So it only gives a certain value. What is that optimum size? So here, what is that optimum size? This is the optimum size. See, this point, or else you can say it as at this point.
But in this problem, sir, by reducing element size, we got a better result, right? Accurate
Yes,
value.
yes, but it's not a right way. So for that, you will you will get a so for here itself, I have a value like that, 2.96, somewhat like that, or 2.92. But if you increase the element size furtherly from here to here, see, there is a lot of gaps over here. So up to here. So you will get the same value. So maybe some increases like 2.986, some values. This is not a right way. So this is our optimum state. So we need to find that what is the optimum size for this mesh. So you don't have any automatic method to find this values. This only comes under when you practice more and more and feel comfortable with the mesh, and you need to understand the type of mesh and how it actually discretize. Then only you know that okay, this is the optimum size for this element. So we need to handle the mesh like this. So we need to create a mesh like this for this problems. So it is depend upon the problem. So for every problem the case will be differ. So you have to understand that. So that is the main thing over here. So I want to understand, you can't blindly go like this. So if I give a very minimum number of element size, or creating a very small element size, it doesn't matter. So up to a point it doesn't make any sense on results. It only increases a few percentage of accuracy. Okay, good. Hope you will get this point. So first we will try it out from that values. So our first value is 100, and I want to clarify the one thing in meshing settings. So when I click the mesh, you will get a details of mesh. Okay, so this setting is called global setting. There is a two types of settings over here. It's a global. Okay, so and I have a local setting. Local settings. So what is that local? So when I right click on mesh, you have an option called insert. So in that insert, you will get a varieties of options like methods, sizing, context sizing, refinement, phase meshing, mesh copy, match control, patching, inflations, like that. When I include any of the methods over here, like I want to insert a method, now it is inserted a automatic method. All you need to do here is it prompts me to select a geometry. So this is my geometry, and say apply. One body is selected. This is called, so if you get there is an options, additional options is available over here, the details of automatic method. So this is called local settings. So this is called global setting. So either you can give the element size over here, or else if you want to give it in the local setting, so right click and insert. There is an option called sizing, and select the geometry and say apply. You can give the sizing factor like 10 mm. I don't want to give the 10 mm, so I want to give it as a 100 mm, and right click and say generate mesh. Now the size will be changed to 100, since although in the general setting, in global setting it says that it's a 10 mm, but it only obeys the local setting. If there is no values in the local setting, then it came to the global setting. The first preferences goes for local setting, and the second preferences goes for global setting. If suppose if you have a multiple components, you can separately give a separate values for each and every components by using a local setting. For example, I have a body sizing of 10 to 12 settings. You can assign a different parts since it is a only one phases we have. So either you can use global setting or local setting itself. Okay, my body sizing is depend upon the problem statement. My body sizing is 100 mm. I have assigned a body, and we will explain this what is that growth rate and capture curvature proximity in our upcoming session. So for now, just know that element sizing, it will controls the size of this element. So apart from that, it doesn't make any sense over here. Okay, then you go for automatic method itself. Thank you. இதை வச்சு நான் என்ன பண்றது? நான் எடுக்கிறதுக்கும் இதில் இருக்கிறதுக்கும் மேட்சே ஆக மாட்டேங்குது. அதை நீங்களே கால்குலேட் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. இப்போ வந்துட்டு 120 hours தெரியுதுல, அப்புறம் எதுக்கு சிலபஸில் மட்டும் கொடுக்குறீங்க? சரி, ஓகே, சரி. சரி. Okay, so in automatic method itself, we need to select the mesh methods. Like I don't want to create a quad element, I want a triangular element. Here you will notice that there is an option called method. You can shift over. So if I toggle this button, you will notice that there is an option called quadrilateral dominant, triangles and multi-zones. Quadrilateral dominant means it's a quad element, so it only creates a quad. Majorly 90% it will create quad only. Okay, and if you select triangle and say right click and say generate, it will create a triangular elements. And if you want, there is another option called multi-zone, that is also covered in our upcoming session. Today we will see about what is quadrilateral dominant and triangular elements. What are the options are available over here? So first I will select a quadrilateral dominant. After selecting the quadrilateral dominant, you will notice that there is an option called element order. So it's set to use global setting. That means whatever the setting set over in the global setting, it will take that value, or else if you want to change that, you can change from linear to quadratic. And you guys are well aware of what is that linear and quadratic. It's nothing but first order element and second order element. So first order element means if I have a quad like this, this is my first order, this is my second order. Only the nodes counts will be differ. So I have a node over here, here, and here, and here. But in second order, I have additional nodes on this, here. So here I have 4 nodes, but here I have 6 nodes. I mean 8 nodes. So that is the only difference. Either you can use first order element or second order elements. Okay, so how can I identify? Right now I use a quadrilateral dominant. I use a global settings. I don't say okay it is linear or quadratic. I just say that use the global setting and right click and say generate mesh. How should I make sure, or how should I identify whether my mesh is linear elements or quadratic element? So there is an option here over. So go to the mesh. So here you will notice that there is an option called statistics. So just expand it. Here you will notice that the node count is 132, that is 132, and the element is 112. If I go to automatic method and shift over to quadratic, that is second order element, right click and generate mesh, and again go to statistics, you will notice that now the nodes is drastically increases. That is 338, which is exactly double the value of previous one. Previously we received that 132 something, but now the count is increases. Also you can use the node selector option to identify the nodes. Good. So this is the only method to identify whether my mesh is quadratic or linear. What about that another thing? So here you will notice that there is an option called free face type, free face mesh type, quadrilateral element, quad or triangular, or all quad. So in this phase it creates quad element as well as triangular element. Since I choose the value called quad and tria, but if I say all quad, software will try to create a quad element, a pure quad element, but if it is fails, some triangular element also created. It is not damn sure if you say that all quad, but some triangular elements also created. Right click and say generate mesh. Okay, I think there is a changes in all quad, but okay, it shows me in warning that all quad meshes failed on one or more phases. It creates all triangular elements. Sometimes this error may happen. Probably if you reduce the element sizing 100 to 50, you may get a proper mesh. See, it shows that error called an all quad free face mesh type was chosen, but some triangulars were created during the meshing. So like I said before, so although if you select all quad, there might be a situation it also creates some triangular element also, so we can't neglect that. But the thing is, we already discussed about in our theory session, so you don't have the permission to create a triangular elements over the edges nearby the holes, and it's okay to create a mesh, triangular elements on this area, this region, it's not an issue. Right now it is a good mesh, since because we have only using a very minimum level of element sizing, that is 50 mm. So if you use 100 or 75, probably we get a poor quality of mesh over there. Okay, so this is the options which is available in the automatic method, so be sure. So first right click and say insert method. So why? Because in this PDF also you will have that option like quadrilateral dominant. You need to select the mesh style as a quadrilateral dominant, and linear free face mesh type should be quad and tria. Okay, the element sizing should be, and you need to fill this value that how much nodes and how much elements is created. So how you get this data? Through the statistics. So in statistics itself you will get the value. So just copy this value and paste there. Okay, how much elements and how much nodes, and what is that value? When I try to solve this problem, you'll get a deformation value. I don't need the deformation value, I need only the 1 resistors. So now this value is 2.147, so which is very poor quality, not very poor quality, but it's a poor result. Due to that, why? Because I get the poor value, I don't have a proper mesh over the stress concentration region. My analysis is only take place on this circular region, that is the whole region. So I need to create a proper mesh over here. So since I don't have enough proper mesh over here, so that is why I'm getting a value like that. And what about that other options? Oh, it's all about the automatic method and body sizing method. So when I go to the sizing option, you'll get a lot of options, like you can change the sizing from here itself, but you don't actually need this. Just delete it out. We will see that what is body sizing in upcoming session. So if you want to change the element sizing, you can use the global setting. You have an option called element sizing, and say that I need 10, 50 and 100 configuration. That is the 3 configuration in our problem statement. Okay, so all you need to do here is just enter the value and calculate the stress values and enter into that tabular column. And what is the objective of this exercise is, you will clearly understand so which configuration is very closer to my analytical result. So that is the good configuration. So the thing is, you need to use a very minimum number of nodes and a minimum number of elements. Also the result also will be very closer to the results. So that is the optimum element sizing and nodes count and element count for a particular problem. Okay, so that is the objective of this. For that, what kind of method I can use? Either you can use automatic method in quadrilateral dominant or triangular dominant. So what happen if I solve the problem by using a triangular elements? So I use a triangle, quadrilateral to triangular, and in element order you will notice that there is an option called quadratic or triangular. That is a first order or second order. I need a linear and say solve. Now it creates a fine mesh over the whole region. Why? Because there is a option in the sizing factor. Now the relevant is off, and right click, generate mesh. Okay, now it's create a proper mesh.
Sir,
Yes,
இந்த மாதிரி ட்ரையாங்குலர் மெஷ் வந்து நம்ம ரெண்டு ட்ரையாங்கிள் வந்து நியர்லி இருக்க கூடாதுன்னு சொன்னீங்கல்ல நீங்க?
ஆமா,
ஃபர்ஸ்ட் தியரி செஷன்ல.
எஸ்.
இந்த மாதிரி நமக்கு வந்தா ஓகேவா?
இப்போ அது வந்துட்டு டிபெண்ட் அப்பான் த கேஸ். இப்போ வந்துட்டு ட்ரையாங்குலர் எலமெண்ட்டை யூஸ் பண்ணக்கூடாது அப்படிங்கிறது என்னோட பிரின்சிபல். ஸோ யூ டோன்ட் ஹேவ் டு யூஸ் த ட்ரையாங்குலர் எலமெண்ட். இன் சம் கேசஸ் if your component is very complicated structures, you may not have the permission to create all quad element over there. ஓகேவா? ஸோ அந்த மாதிரியான கண்டிஷன்ல இப்போ
கம்பேரிட்டிவ்லி நம்ம குவாட் யூஸ் பண்ணோம்னா தான் நமக்கு ரிசல்ட் நல்லா இருக்கும்.
யா, ரிசல்ட் வந்துட்டு நல்லா இருக்கும். வை? பிகாஸ் ட்ரையாங்குலர் எலமெண்ட் இஸ் அ ஸ்டிஃபர் எலமெண்ட். ஸோ நான் ப்ரீவியஸாக தியரி செஷனில் சொல்லும் போதே சொல்லியிருப்பேன், ட்ரையாங்குலர் அப்படிங்கிறது ரொம்ப ஸ்டிஃபராக இருக்கும். அதை வச்சு நம்மளால் என்ன பண்ண முடியாது, ப்ராப்பராக அனலிசிஸ் பண்ண முடியாது. நிறைய ஸ்ட்ரெஸ் வித் ஸ்டாண்ட் பண்ணுற மாதிரி எனக்கு ஃபேக் டேட்டா வந்து காட்டும். லைக் இப்போ இந்த ப்ராப்ளமே நான் சால்வ் பண்ணுறேன்னு வச்சுப்போம். So if I try to solve this problem, you may get a very poor result, obviously. So when I go to see what is the result actually we get is a 1.1957. It's a very poor quality of mesh. But if you are using a triangular element for the same configuration, so I use a quadrilateral dominant and click on solve. Now it is quad. See, you may get a better results for this configuration. So 1.50. Okay, so that is why I am saying that don't use a triangular. But why I include this in the PDF? So you have to know about, so what is the result you get if you are using a triangular element. Okay, so that is why I am including that. So இது ஒரு practice தான். நீங்கள் செக் பண்ணி பார்க்கலாம். செக் பண்ணி பார்த்துட்டு ஓகே எனக்கு கரெக்டாக வருதா வரலையா அப்படிங்கிறத என்ன பண்ணி பார்க்கலாம், செக் பண்ணி பார்க்கலாம். So when you complete all the exercise which I have mentioned over here, you will get an idea. Okay, so we have this varieties of options in mesh. So if I give this input, I will get a value like this. You know the exact value, right? So 3 Newton per mm square is my standard value. How close the result for this configuration? For a configuration of quadrilateral dominant and free face mesh type, all quad type, element size of 10 mm. So how much nodes is created and how much elements is created and what is my result, how close the result is to my actual result. Okay, my motive is I need to choose a method which is exactly creating a very low number of nodes and as well as a very low number of elements itself, and also I need to get a very proper very close value to the actual result. So that is my motive. So for that I created this Excel sheet. And also you have an option called a multi-zone. I will explain what does the multi-zone is actually do. So multi-zone is actually split up my geometry into a various segments. So like if I have a plate like this, it can split anyways. So now I have a hole over here. It will split the hole like this and split the surface into this 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we have a segment of 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 different surfaces, and it tried to mesh that separately. So it will try to mesh here first and here next and here, here, here. Literally it split the model into a multiple pieces. That is called multiple zones. I mean, it split the model into a multiple zones and try to mesh the each and every zones separately. We will see this option in our next session, that is tomorrow. What is that multiple zones? And today itself we only cover that quadrilateral dominant and triangular elements and some other options over here. Just try this model and get the result. You will get an idea, and we will see what is that multi zones, what are the result variation while using multi zones also. So up to this point, do you have any doubts? If you have, you can. Manoj or Gautam, Savio, John. Yes, okay. So just try that. All the PDFs and Excel sheet are available in the Google Classroom. You can simply download that and use the same configuration. You will get that. Okay, so that is all for this session.